All right, welcome to Survive to Thrive. Happy Tuesday, and let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about pricing and having real estate coaching conversations recently, including one yesterday with a really good friend of mine in South Florida. One of the things she said was they have listings, but they're sitting. And the other thing she said was we have 3 listings. And 2 things I want you guys to get from this conversation. First of all, let's talk about absorption ratios and how that affects your real estate business. So if we got in a time machine and went back 2 years ago, in order to sell 2 listings every month, all you had to do was take 3. Take 3, 2 will sell. In today's market, if you're going to sell 2 listings every month, you need a running inventory of at least 6. Double what it took 2 years ago in order to sell the same number of listings. And more than likely, that number 6 is probably going to go up, and meaning that your running listing inventory is going to have to be greater than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And what if it's 10? What if it's 10 active listings to sell 2? So now what? Make sure you get 10 listings. Keep that inventory in order to be able to hit your goal every single month. Now, I want to talk to you about pricing. So most real estate agents look at pricing from a perspective of market value. In other words, my goal in taking this listing is to determine market value based on comparables, based on the information I'm looking at. Here's where the home should sell. And even though that's right, it's only part of the picture. You have to go a little bit deeper than that. You have to ask yourself, if there are 12 homes for sale in my price range, if I'm taking this listing at $380, and there's 12 homes for sale between $350 and $400, and there's 4 selling every 30 days. Pretty much the market most of us are in right now, anywhere from 90 days, 3 months to 4 months. You have to ask yourself, am I going to be one of the 4? Is this listing going to be one of the 4 that sell in the next 30 days? Now, in order to sell this property, it's going to have to be one of the top 4 properties on the market at any time. In other words, if it's not one of the top 4 this month, it better be one of the top 4 next month. And if 4 are selling every month, there's probably 5 or 6 new listings coming on the market in that same price range. So the inventory is not decreasing, it's increasing. Now, how do you make sure you're one of the 4? All right, location, condition, amenities, and price, in that order. Location, condition, amenities, and price. So, for example, if you have a home that backs to a busy road, is that going to be an easy home to sell when there's 4 months of inventory? The answer to that question is no, it's not. 2 of the hardest homes to sell in a market where there's lots of competition are homes that back to a busy road, or they're on a busy road, or they back to something that would cause a buyer not want to buy it. In other words, like backing to a nuclear plant. I don't want to buy that home. That was a joke. Okay. One of the other things that makes it difficult to sell a home in today's market, if there's anything unique about your property, let's say, for example, it doesn't have a garage. All right. So where I live in Southwest Florida or West Florida, there are homes in certain areas where the homeowners have converted the garage to living space, so therefore it doesn't have a garage. Now, if I'm buying a home and I'm buying between $375,000 and $400,000, it's probably a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and it's got a garage. Whether it's a 1-car garage or a 2-car garage, it has a garage. Now there's 12 to choose from. 4 are going to sell. The home without the garage, if you're a buyer and you're moving into a 3-bedroom home, you probably have kids, even if you don't have kids, you have stuff. And where are you going to put that stuff? And a home without a garage is going to be difficult to sell, because if I can buy another home that's similar in the same price range, in the same location, but it has a garage, I'm going to choose that home over one that doesn't have a garage. If there's 12 for sale, 4 are selling every 30 days, and I have a home that I'm trying to sell and it's on a busy road, buyers have 12 homes to choose from. If they can find another property that's in a little better location, that's similar to mine, that's going to sell before mine does. So how do you overcome those unique situations? Well, the only way to overcome them is price. And we're not talking a couple $1,000s. We're talking a number that would cause a buyer to think this is too good of a deal to pass up. Yes, it's on a road. However, it's $20,000, $30,000 and less than all of the other homes that I'm looking at that are similar to this home. It's too good of a deal to pass up. Now it'll sell. All right, I want you to start by getting really good at having supply and demand conversations. So I know this is repetitive. I know we've talked about it before, but let's go to the whiteboard and just talk about supply and demand and how it works. All right. Okay, so you have a subject property. All right, and that subject property, if we looked at about a mile to a 2-mile radius around that subject property, this would be our competition. In other words, 12 homes for sale. So each of these represents one of those 12 homes. And don't count them because I'm not, you get the point. That's my competition. Now, the comparables are telling me market value for this home is $380,000. So I'm going to list the property at $380,000. After all, it's worth that. Not saying it's not. Here's the question. Is it going to sell for $380,000? Is it the right strategy in order to get that seller's goals accomplished? I want you to have pricing strategy conversations, not pricing conversations. In other words, what's the right strategy in order to achieve your goals? Well, before we can do that, we need to know what supply and demand is. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at all of the active listings between $350,000 and $400,000. $350,000 to $400K. That's going to tell me what the inventory is. That's going to tell me how many homes are for sale in that 1 to 2 mile radius around my subject property between $350,000 and $400,000. B are going to be all of the solds. Now we're going to go back 6 months. The reason we go back is just because it's a math equation and I need the data in order to make this work. Don't go sideways on this, because a lot of real estate agents will stop and say, well, John, the market's different today than it was 6 months ago. True. This is not an exercise we're doing to determine market value. This is simply to determine how many homes are selling every 30 days based on the past 6 months and how many homes are currently for sale. All right, C is B divided by 6. And that's going to tell us how many homes are selling every 30 days. So if there were 18, for example, 18 divided by 6 equals 3. We have 3 homes selling every 30 days. If there are 12 active listings, we have 12 properties that we're competing against. And D is going to be A divided by C. In other words, the number of active listings on the market divided by the number that are selling every 30 days. Now, you've got a property that is in that $350,000 to $400,000 range, and we're still thinking 380 because based on comparables, that's what it's worth. And we have 12 actives. So that's the competition. In order to sell your home, script, in order to sell your home, you have to beat the competition. There are 12 homes for sale. We're going to be competing against those 12 homes. In order for your home to sell, you have to beat the competition. So this is a pricing strategy conversation. And there are 4 homes selling every 30 days. All right, that's fine. That's a 90-day supply of inventory or 3 months. So we have 3 months of inventory. Now, your property that you're selling is unique. It has something that makes it different from all of the other homes. It's on a busy street. It doesn't have a garage. Another thing that you find in Florida, if you have a home that's in a price range where other homes in that price range have pools, but your home doesn't have a pool, that's going to make it unique. And sellers are going to say things like, well, I don't like a pool. I never go in the pool. I think it's a bonus that we don't have a pool. My response to them is, you're not buying your home. If we were selling it to you, then we're good, but we're not selling it to you. We're selling it to someone else who more than likely is going to want a pool, because homes in this price range, they have pools. You just expect it. So if I'm selling a home that's in a price range where there's normally a pool that you would expect there would be a pool, I'm going to do the same supply and demand analysis, but then I'm going to look and see, all right, how many sold in the last 6 months without a pool? So I'm just going to change my search criteria in the MLS to include no pool. Now I'm going to pull the data and see how many homes sold in that price range in the last 6 months without a pool. True life example. So I was working with one of the agents that are part of my team here in West Florida, and they were looking at a listing that was going to go on the market at about $285,000. All good. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, no garage. We went through this exercise together, and the numbers were pretty much what I'm sharing with you today. In other words, there were 12 for sale. 3 were selling every 30 days, 4 were selling every 30 days. We had a 3 to 4 month supply of inventory. I said, do me a favor, go back into the MLS, do the sold search again, except this time I want you to check the box that says no garage. So here's what he found. In the last 6 months, there was one home sold in 6 months in that price range without a garage. What does that tell you? It should tell you it's going to be hard to sell this home. Now, even though the data says the home's worth $280, is it going to sell for $280? The answer is no, it's not. Is it worth that? Yes, it is. Is it going to sell for that? No, it's not. Because just because it's worth $280,000 doesn't mean you're going to attract a buyer who wants to pay $280,000. Why not? Because that buyer has 12 other homes to choose from. If any of them are similar to the subject property and they have a garage, that home is going to sell before the home does without a garage. Now do the same search. Let's say you're looking 550 to 600, and you would expect, again, where I live here in West Florida, that's a pool home. You just expect it to have a pool. It's kind of like buying a BMW that has cloth seats. Would you do that? Well, of course not. It has leather. You would expect it to have leather seats. It's just, that's what you expect. Now, in that same situation, if I'm pulling the data on that property, I'm going to look and see, okay, between 550 and 600,000, how many sold in the last 6 months without a pool? How many sold? Now let's do it without a pool. It's going to be completely different data. If you have a home that's a 2-bedroom home in a neighborhood where all of the other homes are 3 bedrooms, that's going to be a hard home to sell because you're attracting buyers who are looking for 3-bedroom homes. How do you fix that? All right, price. Or is there a room that can be converted to a bedroom easily? For example, if you have a den or an office, but it's not a bedroom, it doesn't qualify as a bedroom, and all you have to do is enclose the room. In other words, add a door, add a garage, add a closet, has a window, so it's not interior. You now have another bedroom. I took a listing years ago in a tough market, exact situation, and their listing had expired 3 times without selling. And I said, well, it's simple. You have 2 bedrooms. You're in a neighborhood full of homes that have 3 bedrooms. Buyers are coming into your neighborhood in this price range, looking for and expecting 3 bedrooms. If we take that office, we enclose it, we add a closet, you'll now have a 3rd bedroom. It's sold in a week. Understanding how buyers work is critical to succeeding as a listing agent. If you have a home that's been on the market for 90 days, 120 days, you need to be asking yourself why. Why is this home not selling? Why don't we have a contract? I promise you the answer is going to be either in location, presentation, amenities, or lack of amenities, and then price. How do you fix that? Price. Every home sells at the right price. There is no such thing as an unsellable property. Every home sells at the right price. Now, the other thing you have to do is you have to get really, really good at having these conversations with your sellers. You just can't go in and have this conversation without mastering persuasion. You have to be able to have these conversations with sellers in a way that they understand. They understand that this is the right strategy to get their home sold. And does it mean they're going to get less money for their home than they want? Yes, it does. Here's the good news. Their home sold. They're no longer in it. They sold it for less than they wanted to. They're sitting at the closing table. They got $10,000, $20,000 less for their home than they wanted, but they no longer are in the home. They sold it. Now, 6 months from now, when you've moved to blank in order to be closer to your family and you're in that home that you want to be in versus the home that you're selling, but you lost $20,000 6 months from now, how much is that $20,000 going to hurt? Not a lot. A year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Or you're still in your home a year from now, and now it's not 20,000 less than you want, it's 40,000 less than you want. If you knew your home was going to sell for blank, would you rather sell it for blank in the next 30 days or 6 months from now? My greatest fear for you is not that you're going to get less money for your home, but my greatest fear for you is we're going to be sitting here having this conversation 6 months from now, and it'll even be less then. All right, talk to me, guys.
You know, it feels it feels good too, John, when you have these conversations with homeowners and you know your stuff, and it's like you're not winging it. You're really conveying some facts.
Yeah.
And the difference between like the philosophy and mindset of doing this now than before, you know, it really lets me know how much I was winging it. You know, so much.
Yeah.
And getting away with it too at some times, but at the same time I wasn't being my best.
Well, when you think about it, Nathan, I mean, for people like you and I, it's probably hard to remember what they taught in real estate school, right? But think about, for those of you who have gotten your license in the last 2 years, do they teach this stuff in real estate school?
Not at all.
No, they don't.
In the last 2 years don't think they teach it at all.
No, no, they don't teach it. They never have. They probably never will. What they do teach is how to do a market analysis, how to pull comparables, how to determine market value. All good, but it ain't going to have anything to do with whether that home sells or not when there's 90 days of inventory. Now, when there's less than 30 days of inventory, fine, take it at whatever price they want, put it on the market, it'll sell. When it's, even if you're $20,000 over market value, there's less than 30 days of inventory, prices are doing this, prices will catch up with your asking price. So if it's overpriced today, 30 days, 60 days from now, it's probably priced right. But we're not in that market. And everything that I'm looking at, observation and forecast, everything that I'm looking at is telling me we're not going to be in a market like that for a long time. Now, this isn't negative. This is reality. Yeah, I know interest rates are down, and I know things are picking up and more people are buying. However, just look at the numbers. It's math. What's supply and demand in your local market? What's the absorption ratio in your local market? If you're looking at 90 days plus, you are moving towards a buyer's market.
Even when the market does shift to the point where a home would sell, still doing this is still so valuable.
Yep.
I mean, you really bring another level of professionalism, and you can have a different conversation, and being really creative to get the maximum amount of money for your seller.
Yeah, Nathan, I agree. And when you're having conversations like this at the listing table, Nathan and I are just going to talk since he's the only one talking to me right now. Nathan, when we're having conversations like this with the listing table, even if we put the property at a price a little bit higher than we want, understand a little will make a difference, okay? Even if it's $5,000 higher than where you think it needs to be in order to sell, that $5,000 could be the difference between sold and sitting. When you're having conversations like this at the listing table, then when you come back 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and you're having price reduction conversations, you just refer back to what you shared with them at the listing table. Or you pull out a legal pad and you start drawing pictures again. And you let them know, here's why your home hasn't sold.
Yeah. I love it.
John, can I ask you to repeat something?
Of course.
The line about if you knew your home would sell for blank, and we're still here 90 days from now. I was trying to take notes, and can you kind of recap that?
Yeah, so Joanne, if you knew your home was going to sell for $280,000, I mean, that's where it needs to be in order to beat the competition. Now, let's say, for example, Joanne, you're talking to a seller who wants 300, all right? And the question is, if you knew the market says the price it needs to be in order to beat the competition is 280, would you rather sell for $280,000 in the next 30 days or 6 months from now?
Thank you, John.
Meaning that your home is going to sit.
Well, yeah, and then we bring in holding costs and we talk about mortgage, taxes, insurance, what they're paying every month that the home is sold, script, what you're paying not to sell your home. All right, guys, I've got 9:32, so that's a wrap.
Thank you.